Seems.
We don't have a quorum.
I'm an alternate if that counts.
I think we need Troy.
Yeah, we need one more.
We have waited. And if Albany and Troy don't show up, we don't have them.
Uh-huh,
Okay, we are, I think we're live, so,
yeah,
Oh,
15 minutes.
okay, we can't start our meeting because we don't have it.
no, I
So
don't,
we can,
I just wanted to
we
make sure
can
it worked.
mute or something.
Well, I appreciate the fact that Maddie's doing this, because I have no idea how
I
to.
mean, I don't really know either.
Oh, are we streaming as well as?
We are streaming and zooming.
Do we have anybody left from the outside?
Looks like no,
Morning, Andrew.
Okay, Andrew's here, so we can. Hear.
I accidentally took all this stuff with me last time.
Well, I know, that's
So
why
I'll bring it down to my desk.
Oh,
we're sending Troy a bill for the 12 cents to reproduce the new one.
Okay,
Oh, Andrew, take one of those charts.
okay, nice.
that's that giant spreadsheet.
Okay,
right, I think this market
More
also.
importantly, the coffee is added
report
to the
hard copy.
donuts.
okay, I was excited for the donut, so I'm looking forward to it.
Stream it and record it, because
Yeah,
what
you
happens
do it.
is Amy will take the minutes off the meeting.
Okay.
And I take notes for the parts that when Bill talks very softly, the mic doesn't pick it up clearly.
Oh,
Speak
okay.
up.
Speak up.
All right, so once we're ready, I'll report hard copy.
Okay, so we just it's just getting our donuts and coffee and then. Okay, don't spill any coffee on the new table.
Actually, I already did.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's,
Okay,
that's
that's
already.
already been christened.
Okay, then I guess we can call the order. And now we can call the order.
Yep, we're good.
Meeting of the Albany CSO full communities for Thursday, October 10th, 2024. And here's the roll call. I'm here, Bill Simcoe and Chris Powers from Albany. We have Gary Nathan from Compose. We got Tom Luhan from Rensselaer. We got Andrew Golden from Troy. We've got nobody from Waterfall East. We've got Maggie X from Green Island. And from CDRPC, we have Madison. I don't know how, maybe you could introduce yourself.
Madison Driscoll, I'm CDRPC's GIS and data analyst filling in for Mark while he's at the APA conference.
And we've got Tom White. And I think we have no one. Otherwise, from the joint venture team. So that's everybody in the forum. Be ready to look at our minutes. Did anybody? People want to take a quick glance at the minutes. And see if there are any exceptions, corrections.
The only thing I know is that the community balances are not included. I'll make sure they get added in.
Okay. Anybody else have a motion to accept the minutes?
I'll make the motion.
Maybe,
I'll second it.
second, Gary, all in favor?
Aye.
I opposed, motion carries. Tom White, financial report,
And not much change from last week. We had a few invoices from the communities, and further to that, there's a couple more added that we will accrue into this year of last year, September 30th. Some monies from Troy and Albany, I believe. Don't have it in front of me. So we have 10,000 in the bank as of the end of last month. We have paid the insurance bills, so that number is now $4,000 as we speak today. We still have some outstanding payables that, since we don't have the money to pay, they'll sit, but those are the CDRPC bills. So back to the comment of paying us too much now. We're over budget on total expenditures, which really is because we're picking up on some things that had not been recorded in prior periods. I don't think there's anything above and beyond the actual budget numbers for the budgeted projects for this prior fiscal year.
Yeah, the budgets, projects go.
Yeah, and those are always in flux anyway, so it's always a matter of individual project budgets are more important than the overall corporate budgets.
And we're not really on a accrual basis.
Correct. Well, the budgets are on a reported cash basis within the corporation, even though we accrue expenses that we know of. But if a project expense has not yet been approved by the board, it's not included in the corporate expenditures. So a project from a year ago may still not yet be in the corporate minutes, the corporate general ledger, I should say. But that's where we stand. I will be getting out the year-end invoicing to everybody as well as a compilation of all invoices issued as well as paid by each community. So that you should have, I've done this with Chris, because of the extensive numbers of things we've done. But I'll get that out to everybody. And I will, as I receive information as to what money's been dispersed by EFC, I'll make formal requests for those dollars. I will also send out a request for anything that's not yet been approved by EFC, but as I've been told more than once, where do you expect me to get money from? So just to keep everybody up to date so that we know where we are as of September 30th, 2024.
And then we can get the other.
Yes, once I finish the accruals, once I finish the billings, I'll trigger the audit to start. That should be within a week or so. And then we go from there. And I got your EFC information. I'll be taking care of that first. Any questions for the staff in the room?
Okay, so we don't have any action in regard to that. Vendor invoices, we've got a couple of Van Buren Street invoices. I know we're still trying to get dispersible, I guess you have some more things to do with the DPE.
Yeah, they bounced that back to us, so, yeah.
So those, you're headed towards the finish line with that because it's got a December completion.
Yeah, they're on the final portion of Trenton Street now, so
Yeah.
we're gonna make the last tie-in to where that stream bed comes down, and then, just some road restoration stuff, and
Yeah, and then there's one invoice for Beaver Creek, but that we're into just using the grant money for those, so it's doesn't end up being any expense to the other communities. We'll just be paying out of all these. Music to my ears. So can I have a motion to pay the invoices and based on their being dispersible by EFC at some point? I'll make a motion. Gary, Maggie, you all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. EFC disbursements and things, I have this giant spreadsheet. Which it really is a spreadsheet that shows every line. Mike Miller's one of the time, Mike. I don't know if he can come back.
We should be able to hear it also talk.
Maybe he's.
Did you accept that?
Yeah, he's in there.
Yeah. So just to review what it is, on the first column, it's all of our projects, you know, with the BMPs, best management practices, sewer separation, GI projects, satellite treatment facilities. So that's pretty much all the projects. It's all the projects that have a line in the cost summaries that for EMC financings. And so there's quite a few different financings. And if you go all the way down to the bottom of the second sheet, you see how much has been dispersed against each of the financings and what balance is available. Like, we're still trying on the column that says C4 5402 1400. That was our first tranche. We're still trying to get the last $284,000 dispersed on that financing. The next one was our second tranche. We're still trying to get $598,000 for that financing. The O2 on that column is our Beaver Creek project. And there's still $3.9 million we're trying to get dispersed against that project. Then the O4 is our final tranche. We haven't had any disbursements against that because that's Van Buren Street, that's Cross Street, that's Little C and Manor Avenue. We could have some disbursements if we got Arcadis's bills and Van Buren Street. Well, I think Brenda Lee was looking for some information on Arcadis's utilization plan. If you want to ask him about that, I think Arcadis had their EFC required language into their contract. But
Yeah, that's been done.
But Brenda Lee was looking for the utilization plan.
Okay.
Or a waiver request, depending on what you're doing there. I think they probably, Arcadis had some subcontractors and they were trying to get some participation. Troy, the C4 5489-0500, that financing went long term. But Troy hasn't drawn down the last 1.3 million. So there's some things I think that we've been dispersed on that you could be dispersed on. It really just depends on making an ask for the disbursement request.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's gonna go down your whole 1,369,000. I guess
We talked about that, maybe 3 or 4 months ago, kind of hinted at the fact that, that Albany was able to get, disbursements from these things that, that we're also in line for, that we should just, all we have to do is ask.
Right.
Yeah, I think some of it's just asking, some of it might be that they dispersed for us, but they were putting in a hold for you, because you get to a certain point where there's a hold for document collection.
Exactly, yep.
So you've got 1,369,000 that you ought to draw down, because you've already got an amortization schedule. You're already paying on that money.
Okay.
And I don't know if EFC has a way for you to draw that down other than the contracts.
Yeah.
Then the next one, your Troy 0501. That's still got quite a bit of money in it, $6 million, but that would include your Van Buren Street, your Cross Street, Little C, Manor Avenue, and our Albany projects. Because I think that pretty much covers the rest of the long-term control plan. And then Euro 2, I think really that's completely drawn down. I'm showing $4,000, but I think that's a mistake. And Coes and Waterfleet are also completely drawn down on the Beaver Creek project, although Waterfleet never submitted their last requisition. And I don't know why.
Yeah.
I think they had a notion that they didn't want to because they'd have to start paying interest. But I'm not really sure why they wouldn't want it's like $135,000. I'm not sure why they wouldn't want to just receive it.
Yeah, because what they've drawn down is gonna be irrelevant. They're gonna have to start paying.
They're paying anyway,
Exactly.
because it's 2 years after your first draw, you have to pay principal. So, and we're in the midst of coming to the long term on all the Beaver Creek stuff, EFC's, in fact, Paul Johnson has given me, an exhibit to review, so I think everybody's exhibit really looks the same,
Right.
it's just our different percentages give us the different amounts, and that's offset by any principal payments we've already made into that, so.
Yeah, we had that conference call this. I think it was last week. Yeah. Last Thursday, we had it. Yeah, it went off without a hitch. I deferred them when they were talking about construction start, construction end. I told Paul, whatever Albany's used. I don't know the exact dates. I really don't want to know the exact dates. Whatever Albany says it is, that's.
Yeah, well, we had these 5 phases of construction, so it was really when Malloy started working on phase 1. Was the date, I think it was like February 2021. So. That
I'm not here very often, but some of the values on the Troy 500501 are on Cahoe's line items. Is that typical? Is that
we're all paying our percentage
okay?
on all the
Gotcha.
projects, so.
Very good.
Yeah, it's with the grants, I know. Trying to work with Tom in regard to who got dispersed against which projects, it gets a little bit tricky with. Beaver Creek and the $10 million of IMG, because. EFC just kind of stopped.
We don't know where they're posting it.
They just stopped at some point dispersing against those, because then the rest is grant money, and the same was true at the beginning, so there's 5 million at the beginning that was 100% to Albany, and then there's 5 million at the end.
And we applied those grants chronologically, basically.
So basically a certain amount should have accrued for those payments to the other communities, just like a certain amount of the $10 million really accrues to the other communities.
Yeah, and the way we account for it is, let's say Beaver Creek has $1 million expenditure to one of the contractors, and there's $750,000 left on a grant that to be applied. We take the $750 off and disperse in the form of an invoice or a bill to the communities, 25% of that $1 million in their fair shares.
Right.
So on our end, we think it's squared away, but when I get the EFC disbursements, it doesn't match. Because they've applied grants differently, and they've done it with your grants, they've done it with your grants.
Yep.
And at the end of the day, it should all work out. But the question is, where are we today with a particular invoice, given the cash needs of the various communities?
So line by line, project by project,
Helps.
anything that was grant funded, a portion of the payments really accrue to the other.
Yeah.
To the other parties.
Yeah.
It's just.
It's just less money that you receive from the other parties because of that accrual. It all works out in the long run. It's just sometimes difficult to track.
It's not the long run yet, so.
Yeah, we're getting there.
So. Anyway, I'm trying to keep track of all these different financings, just so we have them all kind of. Wrap our arms around it. And Tom's trying to get all the. Information from EFC on what we paid with each of the disbursements, so that.
Yeah, so that I can send Bill sent me today, the PFC disbursement to Albany.
Yeah, there was a disbursement, Andrew, that we got that was for outside community metering and Polk Street.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, there's been a lot of like, Excel sheet, like EFC closeout things going back and forth between me and, Brenda Lee. And that's good, yeah.
yeah, so that's, we dispersed like $1 million for those two projects that are one financing, so, that's,
And that's pure reimbursement, we've incurred all those costs.
that's money that we received, but it goes to Troy.
That's got its flow to Troy.
This is-
Okay.
So I'll be sending you
That's like, I,
detail with the bill saying the specific request for the amount that PFC has dispersed with the details that belongs. That once you process that payments received here at CSO, I will turn around and pay the community that it's due to. In this case, it's Troy. And you've done that. And I wonder if Michael is relatively happy with where we are with cash at Cohoes at this point.
Yeah,
Relatively happy.
yes, he is. I still think Troy owes us some
A
money.
chunk, yeah, I mean, there's a few chunks out there that need to be addressed.
But, yeah, we're gonna try to pay off because we made it callable when we rolled the band.
Mhm.
So, our thinking is as soon as we have the money, we're just gonna pay that band off. Obviously, we wanna stop accruing interest on it. So,
Yeah. So we'll do the best we can to get the rest of the money moving forward.
but thank you. I don't have to hide when I see him coming. So, I appreciate it.
Well, you know, unfortunately, none of those transactions have been seven figures. They're all just six.
In regards to some paperwork. I think we had some things that had to be sent into DEC. There's Big C, Little C, and Cross Street. Are those the three that was in everybody's packages? I think,
Everyone should have one of each.
and, yeah, so we had plans and specs for Little C and our Beaver Creek, Big C, we're doing a certificate of non-compliance, but we're also saying we're now completed, so we had, as far as DC is involved, they're not invoking their stipulated penalties yet, getting this in kind of keeps us in that, it gives DEC something to have in their files and let EPA know that they're now in operation. So we're in operation, and this afternoon, EFC board of directors people are visiting both Cohoes and Albany. So I guess they wanted to get out before the weather turned bad. So if any people could sign these if they haven't already before they leave.
Martin sent me two things, but I forget what they were, and I signed them. And they look very familiar, similar to two of these. I couldn't tell you which one's the third.
I think he sent out Cohoses,
Right, I remember signing the Cohoes one.
and I think he sent out Cross Street. I don't think he sent out Big C. I didn't see it. So I will sign it now.
Yeah, I will happily sign with it.
Sign it now, the only one we won't have is Waterloo. So I don't know if Maddie,
I can make a note and look, were you CC'd on Martin, do you know? Or not? Okay.
I think it's never been coming to any of our meetings and.
The city of Albany's keeping too busy. That's what he says.
Well, since it doesn't involve any money, I would think, maybe they would be willing to sign something, so, if somebody could send, Joe Lasavita this form and ask him to please sign it as DEC.
So that's, Mark, send that off. And, anyone else who's not yet responded, is Joey on it who's not responded?
Well, I think the rest of us are here.
So he just sign, everybody can sign what they have now. And then we'll have an email sent off to Joe.
Yeah, probably for all three, but she hasn't signed any of them.
And any others?
And, yeah, we're in operation with we disinfected and we ran and disinfected on September 26th, and since then it hasn't rained. So it's gonna put us a little bit out of schedule again for our dose response testing. Because we were supposed to have 3 events that lasted longer than 4 hours overflowing the weirs. Before and we're only supposed to be disinfecting during this May 1st to October 30th. But I think, DC is gonna be okay if we just extend our period, so we have to do the dose response test, then the joint venture team is supposed to do a report on it for January 1st. So I'm not sure whether we're really gonna be able to do that, depends on the weather.
Yeah,
And then we have a wet weather operating plan that has to be submitted, so. Those deadlines might be a little bit hard to meet, but I'm not sure whether those deadlines are consent order deadlines or those are Speedy's deadlines.
I think they're probably Speedies, because I don't recall. The only things on the consent order.
I think once you had operational.
Exactly. Yeah, it doesn't get into the weeds, whereas your Speedies permit.
Yeah, so that's, and then Troy Van Buren Street is coming in to finish up.
Yeah, we're getting pretty close. Yeah, so they've already, we're done with Second Street, paved Jackson, finished 4th. They're on to Trenton Street. We're about to make the final connection there. They have to drop one more manhole and then, road restoration and, get out of there. So, yeah, it's, moving along.
And Cross Street, you intend to bid that, next year, or?
That's a great question. I was so focused on the deadline, just hitting, I haven't even
Yeah.
thought any more about it.
I
Yeah.
guess I think the finish date was pretty far out there, so.
Yeah, it's looking like, replacing a 40-foot section of that pipe and then, some cleaning work. It's nice that we just paved Campbell Avenue this year. And, we might be, cutting a little section of that out. So I haven't gone to the mayor's office with that yet,
Oh.
but it's on my mind.
Well,
Maybe they're listening right now. Yeah,
when that happens.
yeah, I wasn't gonna bring that up. I did mention at the beginning of the year for the paving schedule, I was like, I know we have one more CSO project that's gonna involve a portion of Campbell's Avenue. And, now all of a sudden, it's, here we are.
Yeah,
You may want to look back in your notes and see what date that was.
Mhm.
So that when you do go down and tell them, hey,
Right,
and oh, by the way, I talked to you guys about it on such and such a day.
right.
yeah. It's,
I like
May-
that.
Maybe you could also tell them that there's $1 million
Mhm.
plus sitting out there in a bond that you guys can draw down on,
Right.
that
That
might
could be
sweeten it a little.
advertising.
Exactly.
Yeah, bring them an extra donut.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
You got it.
yeah.
I know, we have a 5-year moratorium thing in Albany about digging in streets that have been paved. And but us folks involved in underground utilities have to do whatever we have to do.
Yeah.
It's. It's just that's what you have to do with underground utilities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if we didn't have this going on, there would be a water main break there anyway, at some point, so. Yeah, I was hoping that would kind of like break the seal, you know, we get the water main break over this winter and then, we already destroyed it with British.
So then your two projects, Gary?
Little C, like I said, you know, we've submitted the stuff to,
We
for review. I haven't heard anything. We put in both. WQIP and WIA on that, you know. We'll see what happens. Hopefully we get one.
Mhm.
I'd love it. We got both, but, you know, I'll settle for one. Having said that, I probably jinxed it. We probably won't get anything.
Yeah, when we were talking about that for the CFC meeting we had on Tuesday, they said your WIA was grant only. So,
Probably, yeah,
is that right?
yeah.
So. And then you probably identified the long-term control plan as the
Oh, yeah,
rest of the source of funds.
yeah. And we had done that previous
Yeah.
and,
Who's
John?
your point person now at Arcadis on your stuff?
Mike Kosher. He's relying also on AJ Brooks. AJ is the one that did the regulators for us. So. Megan Fitzgerald will be back on it too. She's done a lot of the design, but she was out on maternity leave. But she's gonna be back to the happy group probably within the next month. So yeah, Megan, AJ and Mike Ocean.
Yeah, Robert Sachik has left Arcadis and so we've had a different face on the joint venture team now for Arcadis too. Matt Yannickin's been the substitute now for Big C, Beaver Creek. Finish that up. Certificates of execution. Is here, you know what that is?
I believe it's these, the non-compliance certificates.
Okay. So that is those. And is there any other business?
Considering we're supposed to be doing. Shouldn't even bring this up. But if I remember right, we were gonna have to do more sampling a year after. Big C got online.
Yeah, I think that got moved to 2025. I think it was probably anticipating we'd be done with our dose response
Yeah,
test in our wind weather operating plan.
because I'm wondering,
We'll be disinfecting.
you know, with. Say, if they do use that date. There's no way we're gonna get crews out there and. Next November. Doing sampling for December. I don't see that happening.
Or I think we were supposed to do it next recreational season, May 1st to October.
All right. So that would push us to
But
May of, the actual sampling would be May then of 26.
I guess a financial thing to think about with the group is that they had deemed the post-construction compliance monitoring plan ineligible. So I don't know if we need, I don't know if we need some sort of a proposal from the joint venture team to conduct the post-construction compliance monitoring plan. We haven't had the county water purification district visit us lately either, and I think they helped a lot with the previous.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, they provided their boat and they provided the driver and really did a lot of it. So I would really recommend that you reach out to them, Bill, first.
Yeah.
Of course, the joint venture can do anything you need, but the more you can get out of the counties, obviously, the more cost effective it's going to be. And, you know, whether they come back and actually bill the communities or not, I guess is to be determined.
Yeah, I don't know if there's anybody at the county now that was involved in that then.
Probably not. I think we got to bring Angelo in and just kind of sit down and review what was done before and see what's feasible moving forward. So we know one way or the other. And then we'll
Yeah.
get a plan in place so that we can start the sampling, you know, whether it be May or June.
Yeah. So, I guess maybe, I would ask CDRPC puts that on the agenda for upcoming meetings, so we,
Yeah, I would even recommend that one of you reach out to Angelo directly and invite him to the meeting and see if you can't get him to come in, him or Craig or one of the guys.
yeah, and I don't know if they still use that boat or what they've been.
I believe they still have it.
Did they do some of the testing too?
I think they did. Because we were not going to, you know, Bender Lab or anything with that. I think they did a lot of the testing themselves. But I could be wrong on that. If
Okay.
they were doing it through a lab, I would think that we would have been getting invoices. And I just don't remember that happening.
Yeah. Well, that was a lot of fecal coliform testing.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's, I guess just we'll put that on the agenda and see what, how we need to figure out what it's gonna cost and, so we can see what we're up against in terms of getting that funded. It's not funded through any of the financings we can do it.
Well, that would qualify under some of the DEC stuff, Hudson River Estuary Program or something like that. I mean, you know, we're not talking a huge cost, but, you know, we probably are talking, you know, a couple $100,000. But that may be doable under one of those grants.
But we'd have to apply next year.
Probably.
Some of those grants, you're able to get reimbursed for costs that you had before the grant.
That I don't know. I think it varies grant to grant.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we should have applied for it already, I guess. Oh, well.
Well, we don't know what the numbers are now. It's kind of hard to apply for a grant when you don't know what the project's gonna cost.
Okay, well, I guess so
That's true.
we'll get it, start getting scoped out and see what, Albany County's Water Purification District can do for us and what remains. The joint venture team, I think, would be putting together the results for presentation purposes and, we'll, do that as. Okay, any other business? If not, motion to adjourn.
Make a motion.
I'll second.
Andrew and Gary, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed. Motion carries. We can stop screening. Bye, Mike.
Take care, guys.
Any documents that have been signed, you wouldn't mind?
I'm breathing.
Thank you. Thank you, Wendy.